angels, it's Hailey Reese and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here, and as always, I really do hope that you are having an absolutely incredible morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. First of all, may I just say that I am absolutely shocked to be sitting here filming this video right now, and if you're watching it, I'm even more shocked that I had the nerve to edit and upload said video to share this story with you guys and essentially the rest of the world. This is one of those experiences that is so concerning and terrifying and simultaneously unbelievable that I know there are going to be people who leave this video thinking that I am absolutely crazy. And for that, I would by no means fault you. This experience is one of the craziest that I've ever had. And it's one that to this day, this happened a couple of months ago, has completely and utterly perplexed me and really messed with my mind as far as what occurred. Now, the reason that I've decided to share this video after all this time, well, okay, a couple of months isn't that much, but for how crazy the event was, if I didn't share it then, I was certain I was never gonna share it. But if you've been here on my channel, you would know that this month, for the month of October, I am uploading a new video every single day. And in doing so, I've been asking you guys nonstop for any video requests, any content you'd like to see, and more specifically, any styles of content or specific cases you'd like me to cover. And I've gotten so many requests and so many comments asking for some of my personal crazy stories. And this was the very first one that came to mind because, a little bit of a spoiler for content coming in the next couple of days, I've been diving into and researching some of the most infamous hauntings throughout history that have went on to inspire some of Hollywood's biggest horror films to date. And in digging through these specific cases and going through the victims and their statements and what was allegedly transpiring during their hauntings, I realized that the unbelievable descriptions of things that they'd seen were so shockingly and terrifyingly similar to an experience that I had a couple of months ago. And while this genuinely concerned me and terrified me to the point of ruling out every single possible reasoning for my experience, and I do feel very confident and comfortable with where I landed as to why everything happened, it did genuinely happen to me, and it felt so beyond real that it really leads me to wonder even more when I hear about these infamous hauntings and these famous hauntings all across the world that have led to some of Hollywood's biggest, most terrifying motion pictures. It makes me wonder even more what truly happened in all of those instances, but more specifically in my particular experience as well. Now, when I say I thought I would never tell this story, that I thought I was going to take this story to the grave, it's a little bit of an exaggeration because while I thought I would never share it here on my YouTube channel or so publicly, I did share it with family and friends, obviously, and I also shared it on my Patreon during a Patreon Zoom. We do monthly Patreon Zooms over there. They're so much fun, and I'd share this experience relatively shortly after it had happened, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, like that is absolutely crazy. And while many of us could agree with the thing that I settled on and landed on as the explanation, there were a few who wrote me after that were like, Hailey, I don't know what happened to you, but that's really terrifying. So here I am today, sharing it with you guys in honor of 31 days of Halloween. Crazy or not, and no matter how crazy I sound, I wouldn't be Hailey Reese, and this wouldn't be 31 Days of Halloween if I didn't sit down and share an unbelievable, terrifying experience with you guys. So sit back, relax, and here we go, because this is truly one of the craziest stories I've ever told. Truly. Okay. So I do want to preface this by saying, just for those of you who may not have watched my haunted house series as of late, or maybe haven't ever seen it at all, growing up, I did grow up in an extremely haunted house, and I did see a lot of ghosts throughout my childhood, even into my teenage years, and occasionally throughout my adulthood. I have had a lot of paranormal experiences. I personally believe them to be true. And while this experience to me has not been deemed as paranormal, it felt just as real, if not more real, than even the experiences that I've shared with you in the past. And whether or not this really was just something to do with my circumstances and my human experience, it's terrifying nonetheless to be told or to come to terms with the fact that your perception and your reality, your external reality, is not as it seems. It really makes you question your sanity, and rightfully so. So I just wanted to put that out there. But kind of going into the day that all of this would happen, again, this was a couple of months ago, and I've kind of blocked out a lot of things because it was so crazy to me, and I was honestly so embarrassed. We'll get to why, like mortified, embarrassed. So actually 2 nights before all of this would happen, yes, 2 nights before, I remember my sleep being a little bit broken and not the greatest night's sleep. I didn't not sleep as a whole, but it definitely was a broken sleep, and one where you wake up kind of feeling more tired than you even went to bed. And so the following day, I had a lot of things going on. It was a really stressful, overwhelming day. And then right before I was about to go to bed, I'd gotten a really, really important work email detailing that a project I thought was due the following week was now due early that next day, and it had to be done and it had to be sent in. And this was a really, really important thing. And if you've ever been in that type of position, you know it's one of those things where you couldn't even go to sleep and try to get up early to do it if you wanted to. Your brain just won't even let you rest. And so I ended up staying up the entire night. Okay, the entire night. And okay, I should also note that I'm not somebody who does well without sleep. Everyone in my life refers to me as Sleeping Beauty. I love to sleep. I will take any opportunity to get cozy and take a nap or go to bed. But this particular night, I didn't sleep whatsoever, which is very, very out of character to me. And going back to the fact that the day before, I'd already had broken sleep. So I hadn't been sleeping for a very long time. It was like 2 days straight that I really hadn't slept, and an entire night consecutively that I really hadn't slept at all. And that morning when Tyler got up, because I'd already been awake, he had somewhere to be really early. And so I remember we got up, and because even though I was awake, I was in bed with him sitting up on my computer. And I remember I got up to go to the couch, and he got ready, and I continued working on what I was working on because I had an early deadline of early to mid-afternoon in my time zone. So I'm on the couch and I'm working, and he's like, have you slept? And I'm like, not even a wink, like not at all. And he looks at me like, okay, that's pretty out of character for you. Like you should maybe get some rest and then finish up. And I keep assuring him, I know, isn't that crazy? I don't think I've ever stayed up so many hours, especially with how much broken up sleep I've had. And I was like, don't worry, as soon as I get this done, get it sent off, I'm going to sleep. I was like looking forward to that rest. And so, oh my gosh, I just had the craziest deja vu. But anyways, so Tyler ends up leaving, and I'm there working on my computer. And I remember, so keep in mind, this is early AM, and I am dead sober. I'm talking nothing. Hadn't even had a cup of coffee yet. Absolutely nothing in my system. Okay, not even my vitamins. I just have to reiterate this. I'm sitting on the couch, and I remember seeing the door open, like jiggled in a really weird way, and the door just like opens to our condo, and I see the door like opened in a really strange way. And what I mean by this is it wasn't open enough for anyone to come in, because the way that our door opens, directly to the right is our closet, like our front closet. So there's nowhere for anyone to go that direction, and the door would have them kind of closed in to the closet section and the hallway. And so I go, Tyler? Because obviously I assume that Tyler's coming back inside, as he literally just left. And I see this head. I see this with my eyes. Oh God, this sounds so crazy. I see this head peer around the corner of like the door to the front of my condo. And I remember looking at it and being like, what the hell? My first thought was that it was like maintenance or somebody that was like coming into the unit. And my thought was that, oh my gosh, Tyler had just left, and maybe this person or this maintenance person, this is just such a crazy thought because I watched too much true crime, thought that the person that lived here had left and they were coming in. And so I go running, and I remember pushing the door shut. and I lock the door. But now I don't have my phone. And in my mind, I heard Tyler lock the door. So I'm thinking whoever came in right now has a key to get into our apartment. And so I yell for Siri to call Tyler, and she does. And he's downstairs in the parking garage. And I'm like telling him that someone just came into our apartment. And he's like, what do you mean someone came into the condo unit? I'm like, somebody came in, like I saw them. So obviously he comes running, he gets in the elevator, he comes upstairs, and I'm there like holding the door shut, and there's nobody there. We're talking nobody in the hallway, nobody down the stairs, and it had been probably under 3 minutes till he was like back upstairs to check. So granted, yes, somebody could have ran somewhere else, but I didn't hear the elevator again, and the stairs to go downstairs are like right by the stairwells, right by our unit. So I was like, okay. That's really, like, I was so confused. I remember actually being upset because he looked at me like I was crazy. Actually, if we're being 100% honest, he was like, are you just trying to get me to come back upstairs? Like there's nobody here, Hailey. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, like my heart was racing. I really, really thought somebody had came in. And so I go back to what I'm doing, but I can't shake this because during this week, there were 2 specific things that I've been researching. One of which was a really, really dark entity, a really dark haunting, a demonic haunting, so to speak. The other of which was an AI video where I was diving deeper into things that they say that you're not supposed to. And then on top of that, I was researching a true crime case. So my nervous system was out of whack, and the idea that I'd just seen the door open in a really, really creepy way and it looked as though somebody came around the side, it absolutely terrified me. So nonetheless, I end up forgetting about this after a couple of hours. I genuinely think, like, was I mistaken? Like, but how could that? I don't know what I was thinking, but I got back to what I had to do, and I finished up the work thing that I had to do, and that was great. Tyler wasn't supposed to be home until late that night, I think around midnight or 1 a.m. He was gone all day and all night. And so I go about my day, everything's normal, I make myself lunch, but I don't go back to sleep. And this is really important to note. For some reason, now I've had my coffee, I'm on like a complete energy, like I'm pulling energy from Lord knows where, and I'm ready to like take on the day. The day goes on, again, everything's normal, nobody's trying to enter the unit. And I remember I grab my computer and I go to continue doing research into said video, and I'm sitting at the dining room table and I start researching this video. And as I'm sitting there, first of all, the ambiance in my place is I have all the LED lights going, it's a vibe in here, it's dark outside now, and I'm just hanging out again at the kitchen table. Now, a really important thing to know is that the building right by us, we're all in like a group and everything, a couple of units had posted how their unit had flooded. My heart breaks for them. Like, all of their things were floating around. There was so much damage to their property. Like, it was absolutely wild. And I actually said a prayer for them because it was my worst nightmare. So that was also something that was in the back of my mind because I was like, I can't even imagine, freaking knock on wood, what I would do if that were to happen to me. And so this is in the back of my mind, obviously, but not in the forefront of my mind as I'm doing this video research. And as I'm sitting there, I feel a drop of water drop down on my head. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I look up and I don't see anything at all. But then all of a sudden I see another drop fall, and it drops down onto our glass dining room table right in front of me. Oh my God, I sound so crazy. Right in front of me. Like, I see the drop, and then I look back up again and I put my hands out and I see a drop fall down to my hand. So now I'm freaking out, and I run and I turn the light on and I look up, and right by like my light that hangs above my dining room table, there's like a little like almost hole looking thing in the roof, like it's like coming out of the roof. And so I believe that that's exactly where the water is coming from. I'm like, oh my God, we have a leak, we have a drip, it's happening to our unit too. So I start panicking, and I run and I get a little like mixing bowl and I put it in that area of the table, and I'm like examining the ceiling, and that's when I see what looks like a crack like through the ceiling going towards this like hole looking thing at the top of the ceiling as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my ceiling is leaking. Like, I'm panicking. So I call Tyler, I call my mom, 29 years old, calling my mom, but I call my mom and I'm like, I got to call maintenance. Like, I got to tell them. And it's just a drip at this point. So I'm not thinking much of it. And I actually call maintenance, you guys, and I tell them like, hey, my ceiling's got a leak. And I explain what I just told you guys. And they're like, okay, keep an eye on it. As long as it's just a little drip, I'll have someone come on Monday. Cause I believe it was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday at the time of this happening. So it was going to be a whole weekend. So now I'm panicking even more, thinking like, what if my roof collapses the way that those people's walls collapsed? And so I'm so worried about it, and I'm on edge, and I've got my bowl there, and I see this crack through the ceiling, and I'm so freaked out. And so I decided, and granted, I have nothing to get really close to the ceiling, just like my dining room chairs that I'm standing on, and then my island chairs I'm like trying to balance on, and I'm spinning. So what do? You guys, I decide, I don't know where Miss Social Anxiety herself got off thinking that this was a brilliant idea, but I decide that I need a man who knows pipes and knows like the way that these things work to come and assess my unit and make sure that I'm okay until Monday for the building's maintenance to come, or if I need to call a plumber immediately and get this addressed, because all I could picture now was my ceiling caving in on my dining room table. I was like moving the table and everything. And so I go across to our neighbor, bless his soul, such a sweet neighbor. And granted, we'd met before, we'd met him and his wife, and they've been nothing but kind to us. But we weren't like acquainted in the sense that like you go knocking asking for flour or sugar, or like you give Christmas cards. Like, we're not acquainted like that. And what do? I go and I knock on the door, and I can hear the wife saying like, I don't know who that is. I can't see them. And then he comes over and I yell through the door, you guys. I'm so embarrassed. I yell through the door, it's just me. It's your neighbor across the hall. And so they were so sweet. They opened the door and I explained. I said, look, Tyler's not home and I think that my roof might be leaking. There was a couple of drips and now I see what looks like it could be a crack forming. Can you come look at it and tell me if I'm okay? I explained that I couldn't call my dad to come and help me. And so I really needed someone to come look. And he was so nice. He came over. And here's where it gets really funny and really, really embarrassing, you guys. He comes over and I have just my LED lights on, okay? I'm talking like neon lights all around the room and like starry night lights are going, okay? And I didn't turn on my roof lights because Tyler had advised me that if there's a leak or there's like some sort of water in the roof, not to turn the light on. And so I'm trying to point while we're in the dark, lit up like a disco ball in my place, trying to point out the spot on the roof that he very much can't see either. But then he does kind of see the crack and he's like, okay, I can see what you're looking at, but don't worry. Like, you're fine. Everything's going to be fine. Just wait till they come look at it. If you need anything, come knock. Like, just so sweet. I'm so grateful for it. Tyler actually went over and thanked them the next day. But he ends up like walking by like my little water bowl, right? Like the bowl, the mixing bowl that I put there. And I remember so specifically him looking inside the mixing bowl and he goes, is this what you've been catching water in? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, like, okay. And so he ends up leaving. And when I check the bowl, I realized very quickly that there's like no water in it. Like, really, there's like next to no water in it. And so I'm like, am I in the wrong spot underneath where it was dripping from, or is it just not dripping anymore? And I start investigating it. And upon investigating the roof, I realized that the crack that I was seeing in the roof is like a little bit of like paint separation from the building settling. And there is like a hole looking thing by my light, but it's a nail coming through the roof. There's actually no hole there. It's like a nail poking through the paint. And that was when I realized that the water drips couldn't have been there. But I had seen and felt, like, it sounds so crazy, but even now I'm telling you, like, I saw it and I felt it and I was sober and I saw it. Like, I saw the water drip from the roof. I saw it on my hand. I saw it, or I felt it on my head. And I'm freaked out now. I'm telling everyone like that there's no leak. Now I'm embarrassed because not only is there no leak, and I'm very confused as to where I saw the water from and felt the water from, but beyond that, I'm embarrassed that I went and brought my neighbor into this. He did ask Tyler about it, and he was honest with him. He's like, there wasn't a leak. She thought she saw something. It was settling of the roof, etc. And he was nothing but gracious about it. But I mean, that's so embarrassing. And I wish I could say it stops here, guys. It gets so much worse. So at this point, the emotion that I'm really feeling is confusion, but mostly just embarrassment. I'm really embarrassed that I called my mom freaking out, that I've called maintenance, that I now have to call back and be like, hey, don't send them on Monday. There's nothing for them to address. But even more than that, I'm embarrassed that I went and knocked on my neighbor's door and invited him in. Like, how embarrassing. But it gets worse. So as the night continues on, oh God, guys, I'm telling you guys, I could be 90 years old with a beautiful life lived, and this will be something that will haunt me still. It will revisit my mind and it will haunt me. It is so much worse than you think. Okay. I'm sitting on the couch and I once again see my door start opening and I see my door close. And I go running over and I look through the peephole. First of all, and my door is locked when I get over. And I look through the peephole and there's nobody there. And now I'm getting really freaked out. And as I go back to like go and get my phone and I look over, I see my door opening again. And I run over and in my mind, I push my door closed. And at this point, I don't have my phone on me for whatever reason. I think I was going to get my phone and I ran so quick. One thing or another, I didn't have my phone on me to like call the police immediately, which if this really was a life or death situation and there really was an intruder, this would have been the moment that I'd look back on being like, girl, why did you not have your phone? But I'm there and gosh, guys, as I'm telling this story, I'm like, should I even post this? Like, this is going to sound crazy. I'm at the door and as I'm pushing it shut, I yell for my neighbors to help me because now I want this person to be caught. And granted, here's what's really creepy. I'm looking through the peephole as I'm like holding the door because I assume whoever's been coming in has a key. Like, again, the door is locked. I pushed it shut, but I'm worried that they have a key of some sorts. And I look through the peephole and I don't see anyone. So I'm imagining that the person's ran, or I'm imagining that they're like crouched down. I know this sounds so crazy. So I start like yelling for one of my neighbors to come because I figured if they come, they can see who's there and catch him. Because now I'm like, they've tried to come in twice now. They in the morning and then now at night. And so I'm yelling, and one of my neighbors that has not lived here very long, and I think we've only met like once or twice prior to this, comes to the door and tells me to open it. And in the moment, God, I watch too much true crime and this is so embarrassing. I, honest to God, guys, say to him through the door, I'm not going to open the door. How do I know you're not him? And my neighbor goes, touche. I'm going to go check the stairwell for you. And my kind, sweet neighbor runs down the stairs and runs back up, checking to see where this intruder is. And as he comes back up, I hear him go back into his unit. So now I know that it 100% was my neighbor. And now I'm embarrassed because now everything's kind of clocking to me like, Hailey, what's going on? Like, this can't be real, but you very much see it. And that's a very scary feeling to have. Like, I still don't even comprehend it. And so I go out in the hallway and I actually like call out to him and I knock on his door and he comes out and he's like all flushed because he just ran the stairs for me. And I apologize. And I just explained to him, like, I saw my door opening. I'm so sorry. I was freaked out. Clearly, I've watched too much true crime. I need to go to sleep. And I'm so sorry. And he was like, no, I'm glad everything's okay. Like, I'm so glad. He's like, we have cameras here. We have security. And I'm like, I know. So sorry. Thanks again. And I went in the unit. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm going crazy. I call Sarah and I'm telling her everything. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And Sarah's like, why would you be feeling this way? And I all of a sudden, as if it all clicks in my mind, go, Sarah, I haven't slept. And at this point, Sarah and I have been talking way longer than 30 minutes now that I'm thinking about it, because I've been saying to her, like, oh my God, like, what if somebody called the police and they come and I have to explain to them that, like, I thought all these things happened and they're going to, like, want to take me away and make sure that I'm good. Like, oh my gosh, I was so freaked out. And Sarah was like, you're fine. maybe go get some rest. And that's when it clicks in my mind. I'm like, I have not slept. It's like going on well after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I haven't slept at all the night before, didn't sleep well the day before, or even probably the day before that. I had not slept, and I am not somebody who does well without sleep, and I never go extended periods of time without sleeping. And that's where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hallucinating. I'm literally seeing things that aren't there. And this has never happened to me in my life. And what's wild is people are going to say, oh, are all your paranormal experiences like this? And I guess we'll never really know until the day we die. All I can say is what's very real to me and my experiences. But this was unlike anything that had ever happened to me, because even in my past, anytime I would come across something paranormal or a ghost, so to speak, I knew that it wasn't from this world. I could sense, I could feel, I very much knew that it was a spirit. And the times that I didn't, I later recognized it. And to me, this just felt real. I don't know how else to word it. But after I started doing some research and some digging and like looked into the medical side of everything, yeah, prolonged periods of no sleep, and it's different for each individual, can cause visual and audible hallucinations. And I believe that that's likely what happened to me. Now, what's really, really creepy about it is the fact of everything that I've been researching before. And so many of these cases aligned with these types of experiences, sounds and visual things happening, like the water dripping from my roof, the individual entering my unit. I remember when I was trying to go to sleep, I actually grabbed my Bible, you guys, and like made sure that it was right next to me, because I felt like whatever I was seeing did not feel good to me. Even if it was just a lack of sleep hallucination, as it probably was, I was so scared. I remember I went to go shower before I finally went to go to sleep, because I just needed some grounding, and water often does that for me. And as I'm there showering, I can like hear music, but it's different than hearing music within my mind, the way that like I sing a song in my head. It was like I was almost at some sort of concert, but yet simultaneously I'm there in the shower and there's no music. It sounds crazy. There are times where like, especially I'm walking up the hallway in my building and I think to myself, I can't believe that whatever was happening here was happening. And I went and knocked on my neighbor's door and invited him in to check on it. And then I screamed for help and then accused my helpful neighbor of potentially being the intruder himself. The best part though was him going like, touche. Like, you're right. Yeah, I absolutely could have been. Like, I'll just go check it out myself. But it's just so embarrassing, you guys. Hence why I never, ever thought I would tell the story. But the older I get, the more that I remind myself I'm human. This is a 100% real experience. It happened to me. If people are going to think I'm crazy, it's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last. But I hope at the very least you got a little bit of a laugh out of my embarrassment, because this really was, it's a moment that I will never not cringe at when I look back on it. But I'd love to hear all of your thoughts down below as to what you think happened. Do you think it's just the lack of sleep? Do you think there could be something more to it? Absolutely let me know down in the comment section below. And I hope that for those of you who wanted another crazy Hailey experience, I hope that you enjoyed this nonetheless. But that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed, but you do enjoy my content, I would love it more than you would ever know if you go ahead and click that subscribe button. I am uploading every single day this month, so I'd love to have you here. And make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It really, really helps both me and my channel to know what content you're enjoying, so that I can therefore make more of it for you. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until tomorrow, bye guys, I love you.